Okay, so I was wondering if you could tell us about how your hearing loss affects you at church.
At church?
Like if you were going to go to church, how does that affect you?
Well, it makes it pretty hard because there's a lot of noise for one thing. You know, people are kind of, especially when you're greeting, people are greeting.
Yeah.
Because I can't hardly understand. I have a hard time understanding when there's no noise. But most of the time, people are very, they smile and seem to be just ask me how I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
I'm not. At least that's what I think they say. It's you know.
So there's a lot of background noise.
Yes, that's the hardest thing for me when I have background noise. That's just might as well forget it.
During greeting time and then also afterwards, the service?
Well, afterwards, I'm just concentrating on following to go out or whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me because people put their hand out and I'll shake it, but I would never be able to recognize a person again, you know.
Right. To recognize their face.
Yeah.
Because you can't see their face.
Right.
Okay.
But most people seem to be very friendly, you know, and
right.
very kind.
How about the sermon?
Well, that's another thing I have a hard time with because I need to hear real well. If they don't speak loud enough for me, which is probably too loud for everyone else, I have a hard time following.
And hearing the words individually?
Yes, because certain words, you know, the certain letters sound like another letter, you know, P's and B's and things of that sort.
Stuff kind of gets run together.
Right, yes. But
what about something like a women's group? If they had, say, a women's social group, you know, how would you be able to do that, or would you feel that that would be kind of difficult?
got to come. Sorry. Anyway, well, for me, because I guess I've never been used to going to one, and I just feel kind of uncomfortable.
Okay, well, what about in terms of your hearing loss? How would it, like, say they had a group of women that were about your same age, you know, 8 women or 12 women or something. Would you be able to participate in that? Or would that be hard?
It'd be hard for me.
Okay.
Since I've never, I don't know, I think it's almost something you can grow up with, or maybe you want to do it, and I guess that's my problem, that I'm not that interested.
Okay, well, yeah, and then that's fine. I was just curious in terms of your disability, like how your disability would affect you if, say, you went to like a women's circle where there was, you know, say 15 women. Would your hearing loss affect your ability to socialize?
I'm sure it will. You know, because when somebody asks a question, I don't know how many times maybe someone asked me a question and I wonder if I've answered it properly because I don't know that I've heard it properly, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it would make me feel kind of uncomfortable. Usually people are, you know, they'll just not say too much.
If you're not answering the question?
If you're not answering the question.
Yeah. They're trying to... So...
They're trying to be kind, and that's good.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Is there a certain number of people that you can have in the room and still hear everybody? Or is there kind of a limit after there's this many people, even at the house, say here? How does that work? I mean, saying that they were all adults and they were just wanting to talk. How many could you have in the room before you wouldn't be able to really understand them?
I don't know that it makes that much difference how many's in the room because I do have just hard time with hearing.
So
properly.
like when I talk to you one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
I probably focus on enunciating my words better and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm in here with another person and we're talking, maybe with, say, Michael and you and me, or when we're at dinner time, do you hear as much when there's me, you, Michael, and Jazz, or the four of us, as you do when it's just me and you? Can you hear as well? Can you participate as much?
Um, the difficulty that I have in many ways are the speed that a person talks. If they talk fast, I've lost it, you know, and so I don't hardly even concentrate anymore because I can't figure out what they say unless I hear maybe one or two words real clearly that I figure, okay, miss, this must be what they're talking about. But if there's any noise or if a person turns their face away from me, I've lost it.
Do I talk faster when I have other people here than I do when it's just you and I?
I don't know that you do.
Because I remember somebody being here, and we were laughing and having a good time, but I noticed that you weren't laughing at the jokes. So then I started to make sure that I explained, and I can't remember when that was.
It's just probably sometimes, like I say, a word that's been said, and I don't know what the word is, so I lose interest rather than trying to concentrate because it's just hard once you've lost the words.
Yeah, yeah.
To get them back, there's no
The
way.
line of conversation.
Right. It's.
Okay, and then.
Of course, it also depends on the tone of their voice. A lot of times people speak loud enough. Other ones sometimes don't have to speak quite so loud, but they speak maybe clearer. And sometimes it's just, I have no idea what they're saying, you know. Am I allowed to mention names?
Well,
I'd rather not, that's okay.
it's not really about,
Yeah,
mostly
okay.
I'm trying to give people an idea. So,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, is it harder? I mean, I think for most people it's harder in a restaurant than it is, say,
Oh, yeah.
in your home.
Yes, I think.
So, if you're in a restaurant, what percentage do you feel of a conversation would you get? If there was 3 people there, you and 2 other people, and there was a conversation going on, well, how much of it would you expect to get?
How much would I expect to get? Not a whole lot, because if there's any noise whatsoever, it's
So like less than half, maybe?
probably less than half, sure.
Yeah. What if, and then you also said something about not being able to recognize faces. How does that affect you wanting to go to church? Just not being able to see people's faces or recognize or being able to see their faces.
It doesn't really bother me.
It doesn't bother you?
No, not.
Do you think that how does your vision loss affect your hearing loss? In terms of being able to communicate and socialize with people, how does the vision loss, does it add to the hearing loss, or does it not add to the hearing loss in terms of making it harder?
I think it adds to it, because a lot of times, and when you're speaking to someone and you're looking at them, you're looking at their facial expressions to
Right.
can read.
Yeah, to understand what they're thinking.
Yeah, kind of. Even though many times you don't, it's not the way they are thinking, but that might be, just it's just very difficult for me.
So kind of like talking to them, but if it was dark in the room, kind of.
Twilight is hard for me. Just at that time, when the sun goes down, and it's just very difficult for me for some reason. Maybe it's just the whole idea.
Maybe there's no shadows, no definition, or contrast.